This is the Caterpillar and Finning D11 webcast. I'm Todd Cole, D9 Product Application Specialist in the Large Dozer product group. I'll be your host this afternoon. Today I'm joined by Loren Vincent, the D11 Product Application Specialist. Welcome, Loren.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
All right, so let's begin with safety. Prior to going onto the air, we prepared ourselves in this location. So we would ask that you take a moment to get yourself familiar with your surroundings and know the emergency procedures should they be necessary. All right, and at Caterpillar, of course, it's safety first, quality always, and values every day in all that we do. All right, this application that you're in today may be a little bit different. So on the screen, you'll see below you, there's several widgets, as they call it, to click on. There's some links to our bios, some of the D11 material, but there's also one on the far right side that is VOC. So what you can do is you can type in some information, a comment, something you would like the Large Dozer group to know about, and we will get it. There's also a separate one for question and answers that will get used throughout this. As much as we're able to, we'll do several Q&As throughout this presentation. All right, so we are ready to begin, and this is in cooperation with Finning. So we should have Justin Esser joining us now as well. Justin, how are you doing today?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Doing good.
Good. Well, hey, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a minute and just welcome everybody from the Finning Canada territory. We really appreciate you guys joining us today. This is going to be a special presentation and something that is very new for all of us, and we're hoping that it's going to be a great success. Just who I am, I'm the industry manager for mining support equipment for our territory, and I've been working closely with the Caterpillar Dozer group here for a couple of years now, and with the new with the new restrictions on COVID, we took a look at this and we said, let's try and find something positive that we can take out of this and deliver something to our customers that would be meaningful. And we thought, what a better way than to showcase the new Caterpillar D11 dozers. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we jump into it, gentlemen, do you guys mind if I ask you a couple questions from the region?
That's fine.
Sure, sounds great.
Fantastic. All right, well, my first question. So emissions solutions and equipment have at times coincided, specifically as it relates to Tier 4 requirements in Canada. How does the new D11 take on this challenge?
Yeah, that's a good question, Justin. So really when we look at the D11, and it's the second generation of the D11s that we came out with the Tier 4 emissions. So we started with the JELs back in 2012, and so we continue to carry that technology and make it better for our customers with this new D11. It's a much simpler solution than most of our competitors as well, so we always try to make sure we continue to keep a simple emission system for our customers moving forward. So.
Thank you. My next question, guys, is so it's based on performance. So we know that performance has the greatest impact on cost per ton or cost per material moved. What new feature on the D11 will improve the performance the most?
Yeah, that's another good one. So it really is going to depend on your application. So if we start with downhill dozing applications, really with the high horsepower reverse, that's going to be the biggest bang for your buck on the new D11. Now, as we know, our customers have different applications. We've got flat operations and we've got some uphill pushing. So in a stockpile, for example, the new hydraulic system and the stator clutch and having a higher retarding capability of the machine is going to help you back down that slope even faster than the previous version of the JEL. So you're going to get more production from those features. The stator clutch and the load sensing hydraulics is really going to help in a general utility, really making sure with the load sensing hydraulics, you're going to get more power to the ground and make you more productive in that scenario as well.
Okay, thanks so much. My next question is in regards to something that we know very well here in Canada, and that's in relations to the weather. Weather in our region is unlike anywhere else in the world. Temperatures can range from below 50 degrees Celsius and they can even push above 40 degrees, close to 40 degrees in the summer. How was the new D11 designed with this in mind?
Yeah, that's definitely another good one. So really what we look at from our program is we want a cold climate, we want to do cold testing, and we want to do hot testing as well. And we look for field follow sites to really help align with those in customer applications. What we've done from an Arctic standpoint is normally what we'll do is we'll send one of our machines to a cold room testing to make sure we can get down to the -40, -50 and make sure we meet the requirements for those. So we set the D11 program down to a facility in Florida that was big enough to fit that machine in it. So it was a very neat opportunity to get that machine there. Now from a thermal, from the hot side of it, what we'll look at is doing some field follow in maybe the Tucson area, for example. So we'll go to our Tucson proving grounds. That's where we'll do some of our cooling performance testing in the heat of the summer, where we'll get on average about 100 degrees Fahrenheit or about 37, 38 Celsius. So that's really what we look at from the D11 to make sure we've got a wide variety of applications and temperature.
Thank you. I just have one more question before we jump into things today. For many operations in Canada, the D11 is very important, and it takes on many different roles. It's often operated around the clock in 20 to 24 hours per day, every single day. How would you say that the new D11 was designed to last?
Yeah, so that's another great one. Really from us, we look at durability and reliability, right? What are the things that we can do to make sure these machines last longer with these 24-hour operations, and making sure the operators are comfortable as well. So we'll hear a lot of the durability and reliability things today that we did on the program to make sure we meet those requirements.
Great, guys. Thanks for taking the time to answer the questions, and thank you so much for putting on this fantastic event. Just a word to everybody on the line. This is meant to be interactive, and obviously we've done events like this before, but I think in terms of what we want to accomplish today is we want to hear from you guys. So I want to put that forward for you and invite you to be interactive with us as we go throughout this journey today. And then just before I turn the time back over to you guys at the Dozer team, I wanted to give a special shout out to Dave Gleissner, who put a ton of time into and work into this event today. And I know that he's joining us from afar. And just thank you so much. So with that, guys, thank you again for everything you've done. Really excited for the event, and I'll turn it back over to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Justin. Well, let's get the door cracked open and start talking a little more details of CAT D11. Before we look too far into the future, let's talk a little bit about where we are. There is a very, very rich history of CAT large dozers. So in Caterpillar, the large dozer group consists of the D9, 10, and 11. Serving many industries. Obviously in Western Canada, there's mining, stockpiles, road construction, the oil and gas, lots of different applications. In more recent times, Caterpillar first introduced the high drive back in 1977 on the D10, which later became the D11. So lots of milestones along that time. About 2 years ago, we hit 40,000 large dozers since 1977. In that time, if you look at it, we have moved about 519 Great Walls of China. Lots to be proud of there. So you also look at that time, we see currently 17,000 large dozers at work. So through some means of reporting, whether it be electronic, oil samples, dealer service claims, there's still a lot of dozers at work with many, many hours on it. And something more recent, a factoid there is, some of you know we have semi-autonomous D11s at work. So in the time since those have been running, we have circled the globe 5 times in an autonomous mode. Quite an accomplishment there. Now we say all this being very humble. There is such a great history with so many people that have made this possible to have this really a flagship product we have at Caterpillar. Okay, So let's look a little forward into what's coming here. So the next generation of dozers we're going to talk about today. Up until this time, we've really spent a lot of time at Caterpillar, not just Large Dozers, meeting emissions. We had to meet Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 emissions. So a lot of our engineering's time was really spent making that accomplishment. We're pretty well past that. So now we can go back to focusing on things like customer updates, working on that operating cost, retrofits, and we've also began working on what is even further down the road, some continued improvements in drivetrain, continue to work on the automation, and of course the total cost of operation, always working to make that a little bit better. So last year, 2019, we introduced the new D11. The rest of the family is coming along as well. Next year will be the D9, and then late next year will be the D10. Boxed up all in that will be things that continue to work on lowering that total cost of ownership and cost of material moved. All right, so we we'll get ready to talk into more depth on the D11, and none other than Loren Vincent is the man to do that. So Loren, let's give us a little preview here. We've got a lot of people stacked up today to talk in a lot of detail, but give us a little flavor for what we're going to see in the new D11.
Yeah, perfect. So before we really jump into the D11, everything we've done on the program is really going to be based on what our typical design philosophies are. And things that we want to make better for our machines. So if you think about operator comfort and safety is our number one priority, and making sure these machines and operators have control of them. So a lot of the features that we'll come up with and develop is really to help operator fatigue, operator efficiency, and really helping that feature to drive more production for these machines. The next one really is looking at performance and efficiency. So if there's a way we can get more production out of our machines and at a lower cost per ton or more efficient, that's another thing that we're looking at. So we've got some great features here today we're going to talk about in that one. The next two really are the maintenance and repair to help those machines come out of the field and get back as quick as possible. So any of the things that we've learned over the time and the history from our dealers and our customers, simple things that we can make for improvements, for example, oil change intervals or something to extend the time the machine's out in the field. And last is durability. We've got a great new case to frame that we're going to talk about today. It's a great sign to show everything we've done in this program to increase durability of these new machines for the D11. So kind of moving forward, now we take those design philosophies and we really talk about the efficiency, right? So what are some of the features that we've added from an efficiency standpoint? So really looking at the load sensing hydraulics. We've talked a little bit about that today. But we're going to go into more detail on the stator clutch torque converter or torque divider. That's something that we're seeing anywhere from 3 to 8% efficiency gains. So again, efficiency is going to be more on production versus fuel burn. So really great things there. Now when you look at productivity, Justin asked at the beginning what are some of those things that we've come up with. So the high horsepower reverse is really going to help us get somewhere upwards to 4 to 8% more production when you're doing the downhill dozing applications. And again, if you're doing stockpile work or backing down slopes, the load sensing hydraulics and the retarding capability of the new hydraulic system is really going to help drive faster cycle times and higher reverse speeds compared to the previous generation. So those things, fantastic results. Really, again, with the load sensing hydraulics, we've got extended pitch cylinders as well as a new feature. It's going to help us pitch the blade back just a little bit further, about 2 to 3 degrees. Really help more material pile up on that blade and get more downforce on that machine to be more productive. And to pair with that as well, we're looking at, we've got some larger capacity blades. So we've got a 55 cubic yard or 42 cubic meter blade that's now available through the Ketwork tools that pairs very nicely with that one. So really some fantastic results when you look at productivity. Maintenance and repair, really what we want to do is lower some of the TCO and the operational costs. So when you look at that, really kind of talking about the 30% larger oil pan, you'll hear a little bit about that today. So we've got our oil change intervals really trying to push from 250 hours to closer to that 500 hours. So it's fantastic results on this program to get that larger oil pan fitting in the bottom of the D11. So Really good stuff there. Last ones, we've got some of the bearings, the new bearings we've put in. We've got bearings on our rippers, bearings on our dozers, and the new push arm trunnion bearing is another great example that we'll talk about a little bit later. So really with that, kind of taking the next step is really into that new case and frame. So we definitely wanted it. We've got some really special material put together here today to talk about that case and frame. It's just fantastic, and the new equalizer bar and the center pin that matches with it. And then the last thing, really just talking about some of the dealer make ready, right? And how does this fit in, right? We've got that voice of customer widget down in the bottom, right? So what we've looked at is what attachments make sense to come out of the factory, right? To help get these machines delivered to the customers faster and have a higher quality, very high quality product coming out the door. So we've got the CAT fire suppression system, ANSO liquid vehicle system that we've had, the new CAT auto lube that we've got here. So it's a CAT auto lube system with a ground level service center with a shutoff. So that's something that a new feature with a ground level service center to help get these machines back up and running. And then from there, we've got some more light packages, and even some regions we've got the dual pole isolation. But definitely this is a great opportunity to put in some of the voice of customer. All in all, really what we're looking at is getting about 4 to 6% reduced cost per BCM with this new D11, which is just really good results if you look at everything in general. So at this point in time, I think we're going to probably hand it over to Andrew Gates, who's going to talk you through the operator cab and new platform that we have.
Great.
Hi, my name is Andrew Gates, and I've worked for Caterpillar for over 12 years now, the last 5 as the operator station engineering lead for Large Dozers. Today I plan to take you through some of the exciting features that we've integrated into the next-gen D11. First, I'd like to talk about the new D11 access system. Previous D11s have offered a ladder from the factory, but never with a forward swinging door option. This forward swinging door greatly improves the access coming in off the ladder and into the cab, and is much easier and safer to enter. We've also designed the cab in such a way that it can accept either door option. It would only be a bolt-on replacement, and that would use these bolts in the other post. Next up is the next generation seat. This seat comes in 2 different options from the factory, Comfort Plus and Premium Plus. The Comfort Plus includes updated styling, thigh extensions, and high visibility controls. The Premium Plus includes all these features and adds leather upholstery, air adjustable bolsters and air adjustable lumbar, which you can access on the back of the seat with your left hand, and active heat and cooled cushions, which this control is located down on your left side by the buckle. The seat can also be folded all the way over to improve access to service electronics behind the seat. Here right in front of me we have the new D11 dash. This dash contains a 10-inch touchscreen display. This display has simple menu navigation to get to features such as the customizable work light controls, machine settings, and machine diagnostics. On the home screen, the user can view key performance details such as engine oil temp, engine speed, torque converter temp, fuel level, performance indicator, and machine slope. As the user navigates to new screens, the critical gauges are still viewable on the display. This display also includes a nighttime setting which changes the display to a darker color scheme. The D11 has added a new control module to the left-hand console. This new control module adds 2 dials and 2 buttons. One dial controls the bidirectional forward and reverse gearing based on operator preset. The other dial lets the operator quickly control the machine throttle with 7 different dial positions. The 2 buttons in the middle activate or deactivate auto downshift and enhanced auto shift. Auto downshift downshifts when the torque converter speed ratio drops to a specific threshold. Enhanced auto shift adjusts the gear and engine speed based on desired speed. On the new D11, we've also updated the lighting controls. In this area, we've removed the rocker switches and changed to a keypad control. The top button controls all of your lights, whereas the bottom button toggles your high beam lights. In the lighting screen in the primary display, the operator can select which lights to turn on and off via the touchscreen. The entertainment radio is now standard on all D11s. This system includes a microphone and enables Bluetooth for hands-free calling and music streaming. The D11 also offers a 360 vision system that is an optional attachment. This system adds a display in the right-hand console that provides a top-down view of the machine when in neutral. When shifted into forward, the view will automatically switch to the forward view, and when the machine shifts to reverse, the view will automatically change to the reverse view. We've relocated the AC condenser from the top of the ROPS to the top of the cab. The reason for this change was to reduce the height of the machine. The top of the condenser is now lower than the top of the ROPS. As we continue to improve the quality in our designs, CAT Large Dozers has changed the materials of their non-metallics. These new non-metallics will resist cracking due to common cab cleaners. We're excited to bring you the new D11 operator station, which brings you increased safety through a forward swinging door and 360 vision system, comfort through a next generation seat, and technology through a 10-inch touchscreen display and fingertip machine controls.
Well, Andrew, thank you very much for that information. I tell you what, Todd, that new 10-inch display, I think that's just fantastic to have all the controls right there up in the front.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's an iPad in the cab. It's intuitive. It's everything there. It's not buttons spread out. It's really intuitive, and there's probably far more in there buried in there than we all have realized. Lots of languages are buried in there, so really glad to see that.
Yeah, I really like the powertrain controls that are on the left side too, right? Just getting some of the auto shift stuff directly next to the powertrain steering and the clutch brake pack. So bidirectional shifts, all that stuff is really lots of efficiency for our customers.
Yeah, well, it may be confusing at first when you go from a D11T to this one that things have changed, but it really is the feedback we've gotten during field follow is the intuitiveness of that display with the controls on the left-hand side. There's less buttons to be pushing. It's really been a win. We've had that feedback in the D9 as well. So.
Yeah, I'm really also glad to see that we got that new seat too. If you think about all the features in the seat and the high-vis switches, I'm glad Andrew kind of showed that today. There's definitely some good features there as well for our customers.
Yep, the seat's good. The access to the dozer, so the ladder, the A-post hinging door, that's an option when you get that ladder. They worked really hard to bring that ladder in tight. It's quick, it's quiet. So if some of the customers have only used the previous generations of ladders, that will be an improvement seen as well.
Yeah, that's true. The third generation ladder definitely pulls it in tighter for sure. And that A-post hinging door, the forward hinging, I think just works perfectly, right? We've had a lot of really good feedback there. So.
And then at the end, the 360 vision, so you can see all around the machine. That's what a change. For
sure. Well, at this point in time, I think we're going to jump over to some questions. It looks like we've got some questions coming in with Andrew Gates, our SME, on the phone. Andrew, can you help us with the 12-volt power supplies? Where do you have 12-volt power supplies on the new D11 cab?
Yeah, we offer 3 different options inside the cab. We've got, for unswitched power, you've got a 12-volt 15 amp under the right-hand console, as well as a 12-volt 10 amp to the right rear of the seat. For switched only, it's still in the right-hand console.
Oh, thank you. What other options are available other than the 360 vision? I know you definitely did a good job showing that. What other options do we have?
So in that space, we have that 8-inch display. If you get the mirrors only package, you'll get a cup holder in that space, as well as if you get the single cam option, that's just a ripper view. If you get that just comes with a cup holder as well. If you get the dual cam or the 360 view, you'll get the 8-inch display in that right-hand console.
Yeah, thanks for that one. I think the last one looks like it came in. There's the lower display. Can that easily be removed, or is that more of a permanent fixture?
Yeah, we've actually designed that, and it's similar to our medium tractor, brethren, that it's a quick release. You pull the latch and you can pop the display off for whatever reason, whether it be for safety or for vandalism reasons. And you can actually swap them if you want with an aftermarket bracket, but we will not be offering that from the factory in that configuration.
All right, perfect. I don't think we have any other questions for cab at this time.
Okay.
For Andrew, thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you.
So now we're going to turn and talk about the backbone of the dozer. So the frame, the major structures. So we have none other than our very Kelly Scholes with us, the Large Structures engineering manager, and she has got us a video to show us here, and then we'll see what questions we've got. So Kelly, go ahead and take it away.
Hello, my name is Kelly Scholes, and I'm the engineering manager of the Heavy Structures team within Track Product. I lead a team of talented engineers that is responsible for the design and analysis of the heavy structures on large dozers, drills, and hydraulic mining shovels. I've been with Caterpillar for over 18 years, all within the heavy structures space, on a variety of machines on the roles of design, analysis, and test. Today I will review with you details on the new D11 frame, E-bar, and push-arm trunnion bearing joint that were completely redesigned with improved durability, improved manufacturing quality, maintenance and serviceability, and safety at the forefront of the team's objectives. The next-gen D11 frame was completely redesigned to improve durability and to handle the higher demands from larger blades that customers are equipping their machines with. Historically, we offer two different frames, one for the standard machine and a different frame for the carry dozer. With the next-gen D11 dozer, there is one frame to handle all blade configurations. Let's walk through the enhancements the team invested in the new D11 frame that were centered on quality. First, the box section no longer has a knee or a bend in the top rail. The straight rail has two main benefits. This box section is taller than the historic D11T standard frame, but is more in line with the historic carry dozer frame. Taller sections are more efficient at handling higher bending loads from the lift cylinder. This equates to longer fatigue life in the front butt weld. The second benefit of eliminating the bend in the rail is on the manufacturing side. By having a straight rail, the variation in the piece is more controlled, which allows better fit up at the front and rear butt welds, and hence better weld quality. In addition to the straight rail, we also increased the thickness of both the top and bottom rail. This improved the fatigue life of the frame in many areas. The reason why we add sections to the top and bottom of the rail is that it puts the material on the outer fibers and away from the neutral axis of the frame. This allows the machine to withstand higher bending loads and gives you better frame life. Two other areas that were redesigned for manufacturing improvements include the larger radius on the C-welds, which allows the joint to be robotically welded and eliminate the sharp transition. In addition, the type of groove geometry of the butt weld was changed to enable a better weld position and improved inspection, leading to a more consistent weld process and quality. We understand that frame inspections are required to prolong the life of the frame and for you to achieve multiple machine rebuilds. We also understand that you cannot inspect what you cannot see. Therefore, the frame was redesigned to reduce the number of internal welds, and for the internal welds that do still exist, they are now placed in more strategic locations. This was achieved by redesigning the saddle, which is the cross member that spans between the two box sections. On the D11T frame, the saddle stops mid-height of the frame. However, on the D11 Next Generation frame, the saddle spans the full height of this box section, connecting to the top and to the bottom rails. These two images look inside the box section with the outer plates removed. The taller saddle on the D11 frame enabled the removal of the H-bars shown in blue that are welded on the D11T frame. The taller saddle also enabled changes on the internal reinforcement plates, also nicknamed pork chop plates. The D11T frames have a pork chop plate, highlighted in the image on the left, that terminated in close proximity to the front butt weld. This meant that any failure in the pork chop weld could propagate directly into the front butt weld. On the new D11 frame, the reinforcement plates, highlighted in the image on the right, are much shorter in length and terminate far away from the butt welds to protect the critical joint. The elimination of the H-bars and smaller, more strategically placed pork chop plates on the new D11 frame mean less welds inside the box and improved frame life. Another improvement on the D11 frame was to provide a safe and reliable way to remove the bottom guards. On the right-hand side of the machine, we still have the hinges to allow for clean-out and inspection. On the left-hand side of the machine, we added these latches. These latches connect to a slotted portion on the bottom guards, which are not shown. With the slotted member, as you try to break the bottom guard free from the frame, this provides as a catch to give you a safer experience removing the guards. These latches are also available as a retrofit option on the D11T frames. Hopefully you now have a better understanding of the design changes on the D11 frame that were focused on durability, ensuring that the customer can rebuild their machine. We understand that the quality of the design is only as good as the quality of the manufacturing. Therefore, with the new D11 frame, we have added several quality gates throughout the fabrication process, including detailed checklists and 100% UT inspection on all critical welds. We are working tirelessly to make sure that the dozer is built to be rebuilt. Here are the key benefits of the new D11 case-to-frame. Versatility with one frame for all blade configurations. Improved frame life with taller box section and thicker rails. Improved manufactured weld quality at the C-weld and butt weld geometry. Improved frame life with taller saddle connected to the top and bottom rail. improved maintenance and durability with reduction of internal welds by elimination of H-bars and smaller, more strategically located pork chop plates, and improved safety and serviceability with enhancements on the bottom guards. The next area the team focused on in terms of quality and serviceability was the E-bar and its interface with the frame. First, the E-bar itself increased in height to have a taller I-beam section that does not impact ground clearance. The taller E-bar has more section to carry load, which will improve the life of the E-bar and prevent cracking through the center bore region. Welding is still not allowed on the E-bar. The taller E-bar did go into production prior to the new D11 dozer. This is retrofittable to older D11T machines as long as new pads are ordered, and this improved E-bar is now the only one available for service through your CAT dealer. Within the E-bar joint, the E-bar center bearings change from powder metal to composite fiber bearing. Moreover, we added composite fiber bearings to the saddle that are pressed directly into the case to frame. The pin is no longer pressed into the joint, but rather a slip fit. The addition of the composite saddle bearings and a slip fit pin will ease installation and removal of the center pin. This improvement should reduce or eliminate the need for pin lancing and is another example of the team's focus on safety and improving maintenance and repair practices. The new D11 dozer introduced a new push arm trunnion bearing insert in order to reduce the overall maintenance time and cost on the machine. As with any metal-to-metal joint, wear occurs over time, eventually leading to replacement. A significant amount of time was required to rebuild and re-weld this joint. To improve serviceability, a replaceable insert was added in between the trunnion ball and push arm adapter. The replaceable insert is pressed into the adapter and provides a much wider contact width, which lowers the contact pressure and improves bearing life. Also, the thickness of the bearing insert is over twice as thick as competitive offerings. This joint is retrofittable to the machines in the field. Customers will need a new adapter and the bearing inserts. For any machines with extended pitch, it is also recommended to replace the trunnion ball. Thank you for your time today to learn more about the heavy structures on the D11. We focused on customer value, working hard to improve durability, manufactured quality, service and maintenance, and safety. We look forward for you to see these results out in the field and in your business.
All right, very good. Lots of information there, Loren. I just got to mention the bottom guards, that secondary retention on it. I mean, that's going to pay customers for as long as that dozer's around, the second, third, fourth life. Something safe, allow someone to get under that belly pan and move it down a little bit with an extra layer of safety in there. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I know a lot of our new programs are coming up and adding those to them, but we actually, as said, we added them to the D11T close to the end of production. So we do have some D11Ts already out there with those new bottom guards. So it's just a fantastic feature.
Very good. And then the frame, wow, anyone that's been around D11s and first sees that front section of that frame, that's the first thing I saw when I saw that frame, is just how much more material, bigger that front end of it is. As some of us have experienced that D11 frame, if it's not well inspected, the life is not always there. So just thrilled to see how much more material and robust that frame is, the durability. And it's not just the design, Loren, it's also the robotic welding that's done in place. So.
Yeah, no, our facility definitely, we tried to get as much robotic welding in there on that new case of frame as possible, and even really looking, you think about a lot of our customers and the different applications, and is it a support machine, is it production dozing, do you need a bigger blade? I mean, just to have one frame with all the blade options is also another fantastic value for this new D11 program as well.
For sure. And then I'll hit on the E-bar. So we've went from the powder metal to the composite center pin or the bushing. A lot easier to get it out. Instead of using the gas axe to get it out, a lot simpler removal. So safety, speed, reusability, that's another win I see there. Just fantastic. And then the push arm trunnion bearings. Big change in the operating costs there. So if you can minimize the downtime by quickly changing out that bushing, adjusting the shims, instead of in the previously it was taking the end of that push arm off, welding it back on. So again, continued movement I see on the improved operating cost.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
Yeah, definitely lots of durability and maintenance and repair improvements on this new D11 frame, for sure.
Okay, well, let's not do all the talking here. We have some questions that came in, and I believe we have Kelly with us here to take a turn at those. So, Kelly, if you're with us, we've had a question come in here. So this one is, are auto tensioning tracks on the radar or remote tension to help reduce side frame contamination in the field?
Okay. Hi everyone. We did not cover anything on track roller frames in this presentation because on the next gen dozer we did not change anything on the track roller frame or the recoil system. So presently we are not looking into any of those features. However, with good voice of customer, and if you pester our marketing folk, and if that's a feature you need us to look at down the road, it's something we could consider. But however, currently we are not actively working on that.
Okay. Great. No, I think that is a solid piece of VOC. So good. Well, we have another one here, and this is what steps were taken in developing the frame to ensure the frame is built to last?
Yeah, good question. So with the new D11 frame, we first start off with doing our finite element analysis. The one thing we did that was pretty new within Caterpillar is we look at welds in multiple ways. So we actually run two different types of analysis, and the new one we did actually looks really detailed at the root of the weld because that's probably the most dangerous for the field because you can't see that detect. We also look at the toes and the parent material and bolted joints in our finite element analysis. The other thing we do is we strain gauge the machine, and we did this actually multiple times, and we take it down to our Tucson Proving Grounds where we run it in the rock. Another thing that we did is, since it's our first time we've really gone this big of a change on a dozer frame, we actually went out in the field in the Sparwood region and tested it there because that's a severe application to kind of benchmark our own proving grounds. So that was one thing new that we also did with the D11. And then the other thing that we did that was very new, actually, within Caterpillar, is in some of the joints, weld joints on the D11 frame, we made mocked up samples of them, and we actually cycled them in the lab. So kind of like miniature fatigue lab settings, and cycled those through the lab to kind of see how those joints would perform. So those were three big areas, both virtually, lab testing, and physical testing that we did on this frame.
Okay, great. Lots of pieces behind the scenes to make it all work. That's probably just the very short version of many hours of discussion we could have about how that worked. We do have one more, so this has to do with frame inspection. So with the new frame, how do dealers and customers know what to inspect?
Correct. So we use the normal channels today with the frame inspection. Recently, we've been getting some new requests with some tenders from certain customers. So we're actually updating our inspection documents so that way you guys can actually see what we are inspecting in the factory as well, what joints we ultrasound, and some of that documentation. The other thing that is not ready yet, but we're looking into, is Caterpillar offers the CAT Inspect app. And one thing we would like to do in the future, we don't have a date on that yet, but actually have an inspection list for the D11 frame through the CAT Inspect app. That way you guys can document it, and then we can also get data from the field on what you guys are seeing as well. And that helps us out and helps you guys out at the same time. So future date, look for that CAT Inspect app on the D11 frame.
Okay, great use of that CAT Inspect app. It's being used across the company for lots of stuff. So perfect place for the D11 inspection. All right, so that's the frame piece of this, Loren, and I know Kelly's going to be around for some questions later if we have them. But what's next to talk about?
Yeah, no, good one. Yeah, thanks, Kelly, for the information that you've put together there for us. So next we're going to hand it over to Andy Rockwell, who's our chief engineer for the C32.
I'm Andrew Rockwell, C27 C32 Chief Engineer at Caterpillar. I would like to talk to you today about two topics. First, I'll be describing some C32 features in the new D11 Large Dozer. And second, I'll be giving you a glimpse into some C32 initiatives underway the goal of which is to drive continuous reliability and durability improvements into the C32 engine. The C32 engine in the new D11 Large Dozer retains the same emission system from its predecessor in the D11T. Cooled EGR combined with diesel oxidation catalysts. It retains its current 900 horsepower forward rating while increasing power in reverse with a 1,000 horsepower reverse rating. Before we get into the engine improvements, I want to point out a change to the engine bay doors. The team here has removed the center post that was present on the D11T, and the doors now open in a bomb bay style to give full access to the engine compartment. This change has been very well received from service technicians in the field. Moving below the dozer, on the engine you will find a larger oil pan, increasing the oil refill volume by 30 liters, or about 30%, the result of which is extended oil change intervals. Turning our attention to the top of the engine, we will find an improved cylinder head, which contains additional fuel drillings that enable the removal of external fuel lines at each of the four corners of the engine and the associated guarding. This cylinder head and its associated components can be retrofitted to the D11T. We are working retrofit kits now and expect these to be available for the D11T in early 2021. Our engine controls include cooling system diagnostics, sometimes referred to as dual sensor coolant protection, which enables the engine ECM to continuously monitor system pressure and pump rise. This enables the machine to alert the operator to cooling system issues. We do have a sensor and harness kit available for the D11T as well as the required engine software. We have been monitoring several machines, both D11 and D11T, and I'm very pleased to tell you that the system has demonstrated the ability to provide very early awareness to cooling system issues, either loss of coolant flow, system pressure, or both, and take actions to alert the operator and protect the engine where necessary. Looking at the sides of the engine, you'll see that we've implemented more durable stainless steel exhaust manifold shields. These are available for the D11T as well. And finally, we have implemented a new EGR cooler with greatly improved thermomechanical capability compared to its predecessor. It accomplishes this through the use of flexible heat exchanging tubes and is similar in design to those used in Cat C9 through C18 powered machine engines starting in 2017. It greatly improves the robustness of the EGR cooler against failure resulting from the loss of water flow. Wrapping up this section, the C32 engine in the new D11 Large Dozer increases productivity through faster cycle times with high horsepower reverse, extends oil change intervals to reduce overall maintenance and repair costs, and improves reliability through the implementations of more robust exhaust manifold shields, simplified fuel lines, advanced cooling system diagnostics, and improved EGR coolers. The overall result? A more productive and reliable engine in the D11 Large Dozer. Let's now turn our attention to some notable C32 initiatives underway at Caterpillar, which have the potential to further improve the reliability and durability of the C32 engine in the D11 Large Dozer. We have recently begun work on a design which adds a second lube oil cooler to the engine. The aim here is to reduce lube oil operating temperature with the goal of improving oil health during high operating water temperatures commonly experienced with high ambient temperatures or plugged radiator conditions. With lower oil temperatures, there is also the potential to increase oil change intervals for a given set of conditions. This system is currently in the design and validation stage, and we look forward to placing it on field test sites in 2021. It will be applicable to both D11 and D11T. Staying with the machine cooling theme, we have developed new engine control software which optimizes engine protection, coolant temperature settings, as well as reversing fan disablement settings. The former has the benefit of reducing engine heat load during engine overheat conditions, reducing the extent to which the engine overheats during plugged radiator conditions, while the latter has the effect of reducing engine coolant temperature spikes by preventing fan reversal during overheat conditions. The combined result is to mitigate the negative reliability and durability impacts of operating under overheat conditions. This engine software is available for the D11T now, while it is being validated in the D11 at this time and will be available first quarter 2021. We have also been investigating the use of a self-cleaning filter, centrifugal oil filter system, replacing the current filters as an option for C32s and D11s. It is essentially the same, except smaller, as that which has been deployed on C175 powered trucks. It has the benefit of replacing oil filter changes which open the clean side of the engine's lube oil circuit with less frequent centrifugal oil filter cleaning, which occurs on the dirty side. This reduces the potential for lube circuit contamination-derived bottom-end failures. We will start evaluating this system in our lab late this year, and if all goes well, we'll be looking for field test opportunities in mid-2021. While SCF-COF eliminates opening up the clean side of the lube system during regular maintenance, we are also working to extend valve lash reset intervals through optimization of our intake and exhaust insert designs. SCF-COF and extended valve lash reset intervals both represent initiatives which, in addition to their individual benefits, work together to keep the engine closed longer between regular maintenance touch points, improving overall engine reliability. And finally, we have an initiative underway for the C32 aimed at what we commonly refer to as the lower liner sealing area. This is the part of the liner and block interface which seals coolant from the crankcase. Our efforts here are focused on developing a design with a more robust reman insert as well as larger cross-section sealing rings with the effect of reducing bore wear and improving sealing robustness on reman and CRC blocks. We expect the result to be reduced rebuild costs as well as improved sealing reliability. Design optimization and validation is underway for this concept, and we look forward to finding field test opportunities for this design in 2021. We at Caterpillar are dedicated to the success of the C32 and the D11 Large Dozer. The common objective for all of the features and initiatives that I have described is to continuously improve C32 reliability and durability in the D11 to ensure that it is the right choice for the customers that it serves. I want to thank you for your time today, and I look forward to visiting with you again soon about the C32 and the D11 Large Dozer.
Well, thanks, Andy. That was a really good information, and I know some of those upcoming initiatives. Hopefully, we get some good questions on those. But I tell you what, the high horsepower reverse is just a fantastic feature with this new D11.
Yeah, a little more forward power, but a lot more in the reverse cycle. So cutting down or higher horsepower in reverse allows you to back up that hill a lot faster. Allows you to spend more time pushing material instead of backing up. So. That's exciting to see, just like the D10 did several years ago.
Yeah, I know, and the maintenance and repair, obviously that's something we've talked about, that new oil pan, 30% larger to get those oil change intervals to 500. Really good details there on everything that team worked together, put together.
Yeah, it needed that extra oil to ensure that it can go a longer life, allow the chemistry of that oil to still do its job, and let that the planned maintenance go out a little further. So good to see that.
Yeah, the new fuel line, getting rid of the fuel lines in the corners too. I mean, that's another one that's it's been out there on the D11 for a while, and coming up with that design too is something that also we talked about it being retrofittable in first quarter next year for JELs to get rid of some of those lines. So there's some really good stuff going on, initiatives from the engine.
Yeah, I agree that the fuel lines was big. They've been around D11s for a while. We know the history there, so that's a big improvement to see. Double down on that. So good job to the engine team for pulling that one off.
Yeah. So if you talk about some of the upcoming initiatives, right? The second cooler on the side of the engine, and the self-cleaning filter, and the centrifugal oil filter. I mean, I tell you what, showing some of the data in the labs there already, it'd be really interested to see what it's going to take and how soon we're going to get those to some of our customers.
Yeah, that's probably what's on most of the customers' mind is what's coming that's going to make something better with what I own today, and during that rebuild, maybe I can adopt that. So, yeah, maybe that'll be something we can visit with Andy through the rest of this meeting to have a little more discussion on.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we are starting to get some questions coming in. I know we've got Andy on the phone to help answer some of them. Andy, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect. So one of the questions, the larger oil pan, is it retrofittable on the previous generations of D11s?
No, I'm afraid it's not retrofittable to the D11T.
Okay. One of the other questions is, when we finish the SCF and COF test program, will there be a retrofit option for the older D11s on that one?
Yes, we do plan to have a retrofit option to deploy SCF COF on both D11 and D11T.
And then one more question that came in, the new NRS coolers. Can you give a little more details on what kind of NRS coolers they are again?
Yeah, the new D11 uses a different style of NRS cooler, which includes a flexible heat exchanger tubes, which essentially makes it much more robust to loss of water flow or loss of system pressure. And so that's what's on the new D11.
Okay, well, keep those questions coming in. I know we've got Andy is available here with us the rest of the afternoon, so if there are any other engine questions, feel free to send them forward. And I think at this point we'll probably...
Yep. So right behind the engine is the torque divider. So let's talk a little bit about the change there, the stator clutch, as Loren covered a little bit. With us today is Brandon Hagman. He is the design engineer for the torque divider. So Brandon, I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you have to tell us?
Hello and welcome. My name is Brandon Hagman. I'm a senior design engineer here at Caterpillar. For the past 3 years, I've had design responsibility of the D9 through D11 torque converters. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the D11 stator clutch torque converter. I will be talking to you about what is unique in this design, as well as what is carryover from the previous design. Let's start by working our way from the engine down to the transmission by looking at the components. We'll start with a cross section so you can see the full converter. You may recognize the converter cross-section on the left as the current D11 converter. The cross-section on the right is the new stator clutch converter. Both converters share the core basic converter components of an impeller, turbine, and stator. They also both utilize a torque divider planetary set between the engine and torque converter. The stator clutch converter contains a new clutch pack located by the output yoke. Let's look at these areas in more detail, starting with the shared components. The role of the torque converter is to automatically increase drivetrain torque, which increases pushing force as the machine load increases. Inside the converter, the basic principles have not changed. Torque converters work by transferring power through hydraulic oil that reacts against the blades inside the converter. The engine spins the impeller, which accelerates and pushes the oil. This oil reacts against the cup blades of the turbine. The turbine sends that power back to the torque divider, which is then delivered to the transmission. The fluid that exits the turbine still has energy and momentum. The stator redirects this energy back to the impeller, adding the fluid force back into the loop and creating the torque multiplication. Another key shared component is the torque divider planetary gear set. While most of the engine power is transferred through the converter blades, this gear set allows some engine power to travel directly to the transmission. This mechanical transfer increases overall efficiency. The engine powers both the converter impeller and a sun gear. The output of the converter, the turbine, is linked to the ring gear by a flange. The output shaft is tied to the planetary gear carrier, which receives the power from both the sun and ring gears. The stator and the stator carrier are not connected to the planetary gear set. The basic torque converter and divider work together on the D11 to provide the power from the engine to the transmission as shown. As discussed earlier, the stator plays an important role of redirecting the oil flow during heavy machine loads to increase torque output. The new D11 stator clutch torque divider addresses these inefficiencies with the stator clutch. The stator clutch inside the main converter is connected via a carrier and hub to a clutch pack near the yoke. This clutch pack allows the stator to both freely rotate as well as lock in position. At high torque loads, the stator is locked to provide torque multiplication, as talked about earlier. In light loads, it unlocks to increase the efficiency of the torque converter, similar to a freewheel stator. This allows oil in the main converter to flow freely between the turbine and impeller, resulting in better efficiency when torque multiplication is not needed. In retarding conditions, the stator plays an important role by blocking flow and absorbing power. The stator clutch allows the stator to be locked in this condition, something a freewheel stator cannot do. This provides greater retarding force through the converter than a freewheel stator design. The clutch control happens electronically in fractions of a second via the transmission ECM. The control logic is seamless with no input from the operator. The clutch pack also allows for easy rebuild compared to a freewheel stator, which typically requires a full hardware replacement. As discussed earlier, the stator found inside the converter plays an important role of redirecting oil during heavy machine loads to create torque multiplication. However, at light loads, the stator can actually be in the way of this oil flow, resulting in inefficiencies. The stator clutch found on the D11 torque converter addresses these inefficiencies. By now, you're probably asking what all of this means to you. Well, here's the key points to remember. The performance of the D11 torque converter remains unchanged. It still provides the low-end torque you're used to and the high retarding capability. The stator clutch found in the new converter offers you a 5% efficiency savings, resulting in lower fuel costs and lower operating costs. The D11 stator clutch controls are completely seamless and require no input from the operator or training. Unfortunately, due to the size increase of the new design, it is not retrofittable to the older machines. When you add it all together, the D11 stator clutch combined with the torque divider offers the highest efficiency in our converters, saving fuel and operating costs over the full life of the machine.
All right, lots of great information there. A lot of detailed information, but a lot of great graphics too. I saw in there, Loren. So, 5% efficiency increase. That's really great. So, the D9, which is my baby, we did field follow with stator clutch torque converters in the D9, and we swapped out production versus the field follow stator clutch. And we saw an average, solid average 5%. So we say up to, but it's every bit of 5%. So again, totally dependent on application, how much light drawbar load you do, how much maneuvering you do, but 5% does equal a lot of fuel. So that's really great to see, Loren.
Yeah, no, you're right, Todd. It's some really good numbers there from a fuel burn and fuel efficiency, right? So if you think about, pushing the same amount of material and burning 5% less fuel, and some of these lighter loads applications are just backing in reverse, or we've actually even run in some of the reports on PSRs. We've seen, the freewheel stator 40 to 50% sometimes on some machines and applications, and even higher in some other scenarios. So there's definitely a lot of customers taking advantage of this fuel efficiency savings for the stator clutch. So really good information there from Brandon.
Yeah. And the other thing to point out, just to double down on it, is the great thing about this, there's no buttons to push, no modes to select. It is just baked into the DNA of the torque converter in the machine. So you don't have to think about it. You don't have to select a mode. You just get that 5%, it handles it. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking and we're going to see what questions have came in for Brandon, and we do have a few. So Brandon, if you're there, this first question gets a little bit into the transmission, but if you can take it, great. If not, we will follow up with it. So Brandon, the question is, were modifications to the transmission undertaken to handle the increase in horsepower?
So I guess I'll answer from both the drivetrain side on the torque converter and the transmission. So the torque converter, obviously a new design. We ran several thousand hours of field follow there to validate the power levels. We also do our internal driveline signature testing, where we test the loads and torques going through the entire drivetrain system to make sure we're able to meet our life targets and goals. That same philosophy was driven on the transmission side, running those field hours and doing the internal testing. So we make sure the full drivetrain system is capable of handling that power.
Okay. All right, great. The next question we have here is, what happens if the stator clutch fails?
So the stator clutch, obviously being a clutch that can fail two ways, on or off. The clutch valve is designed, if you disconnect it or the wires get broke, to fail in the on state. That really lets your converter behave just like a normal converter, but you'll lose out on that fuel efficiency until it's fixed. In the odd scenario that it fails in the off position, then you will lose torque multiplication. So the operator would be alerted, as well as other diagnostics, to let you know that there's an issue there.
Okay, understood. What about the next question here is what has to do with rebuild costs. So is there an increased rebuild cost with this new feature?
So the torque converter on the D11 Fusion we designed with a 16,000 hour life target. We design all our hard components to meet full life as well as multiple lives. So you're really just looking at the bearings and seals and those sort of components. So take that versus a freewheel stator, where a lot of times those components wear out and have to be replaced. On the stator clutch, you're only talking about a clutch pack and seals and bearings.
Okay. All right, understood. So the last question we have here has to do with really what the operator feels. So the question is there a jerk when the stator clutch engages?
So as mentioned in the video, the stator clutch is disengaged and engaged at light loads to save your fuel efficiency. So with those light loads, you really feel nothing. The machine takes care of all of the controls, turning it on and off when needed to save you that fuel, and it's pretty well completely seamless to the operator.
Okay, very good. And that's what we've heard as well in the D9 field follow. So great to hear there. One shout out here, I know we're going to switch over to Loren in the next topic here, but again, the VOC buttons on the bottom, it's thinking of something, that's a comment to us, and as well as the Q&A. All our specialist SMEs will be with us here for a while longer. So Loren, what's up next?
Well, next we've got Joe Hulsman, which is our engine installation team lead, and is really going to talk about the single plane cooling package and the new radiator. So let's hand it over to Joe.
Hello, I'm Joe Hulsman, Engineering Team Lead for Large Dozer Engine Installation and Cooling Systems. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the new D11 single plane cooling system. The D11 is the most challenging dozer to keep cool. As machines grow in size, they grow in 3 dimensions. The cooling package performance, however, is really dependent upon width and height. For the new D11, we maintain the frame width of the tractor, we maintain lift cylinder height, thus constraining our cooling package in width and height. So we took on the challenge with the new D11 to grow the cooling system depth and get increased performance. The first step was to do a CAT-designed copper grommeted tube radiator. This radiator features a 2-pass coolant flow design like our previous AMOX core radiators. We flow coolant up the front 3 tube rows and down the back 3 tube rows, where the coolest air meets the coolest coolant, maximizing radiator performance. To ensure we get good 2-pass flow of the coolant, we designed a bottom tank, which is essentially 2 steel tanks welded together that minimize any chance of leakage across the tank, therefore maximizing the flow through the radiator and maximizing cooling performance. Along with this, we have new seals, top and bottom, that are oil resistant and coated to improve the assembly and disassembly experience. The top, bottom, and mid-support clip interface points are industry standard. On each side of the radiator, we have aluminum bar plate charged air coolers. We designed these coolers to maximize the width of the radiator by increasing the depth 90 millimeters to be our deepest charged air cooler yet. Above the radiator, we packaged a robust aluminum bar plate hydraulic oil cooler. While no location on a D11 is free from dirt and debris, the high location minimizes the collection of debris and allows for easy cleaning. What you won't see in this cooling package is an air conditioning condenser core. With the new D11, the condenser is always mounted to the roof of the cab. This allows us to always maintain a single plane cooling system. With the success of the new D11 cooling package, we are now offering a retrofit cooling package for the D11T JEL prefix tractors. This retrofit cooling package uses these same charge air coolers on each side of the radiator, a nearly identical radiator with the only difference being the outlet tube of the radiator, which is designed to fit into the JEL package. The hydraulic oil cooler was not able to be packaged above the radiator, so we maintained the current JEL hydraulic oil cooler, oriented it horizontal, and packaged it as high as possible to keep it out of dirt and debris. The retrofit cooling package will maintain many of the benefits of the single plane system. Most of your dirt, debris, and plugging will occur below the hydraulic cooler. This package will allow much improved access to clean this area and maintain your cooling system performance. With the single plane cooling package, we have a cooling system that can tolerate more plugging, up to 30% in some applications, while providing the access needed to maintain and keep that cooling package clean.
Great, Joe. That was really some fantastic stuff. I mean, the new cooling package is just something I think all our customers have been looking for and asking and talking about. So, and I think we're even seeing some really good numbers and performance on these new machines out in the field at this point.
Yeah, great to see. I mean, cooling is a big thing on dozers, and there's not a lot of space for cooling, so it's always been a very tight game to play to have enough space to cool, to keep it easily to unplug it. So glad to see we've got some more things in store for improving the cooling and reliability and durability. So.
Yeah, that deeper core for sure is going to help us in the long run. The new Caterpillar copper grommeted tube, I mean, that's another one that we've had released on some other products, and now we've got it finally on the D11. So we're seeing some really good results with that radiator package as well.
And it's retrofittable to the previous serial number prefix. So we can see that coming in the future as well.
Yeah, the JEL serial number prefix for sure. We've got the similar cooling package that we showed in some of the images there with Joe. Is hopefully we can get those out in the field here to some of the customers with JELs and see the same cooling performance that we're seeing on the new D11.
Okay. And the number of what we heard was 30% better, more plugging in some applications with this cooling. So allows for more plugging. So we have some room to run on this. So excited to see how this plays out in the coming years for all the customers out there.
Yeah, no, that's another good one. I mean, just the overall performance and the temperature differences between what this machine's designed for, and trying to help with when you do have plugging situations. That's 30% is a pretty big number from a cooling performance perspective.
Yes.
Well, at this point in time, just kind of summarize everything that we've gone through today. So we've obviously talking about the design philosophies at the beginning and really how some of this new product fits well. We talked about the cab, operator comfort, efficiencies, all of those things really with keeping the customer in mind and safety for sure. Next, kind of jump into the case and frame and the durability and reliability and the maintenance and repair, the bottom guards, the center pin on the E-bar, the push arm trunnion bearings. I mean, we just go on and on again with this material, but it's just fantastic results here to see some of this stuff come together for the D11 program. And really kind of talking about the high horsepower reverse and getting increased performance and productivity with the engine and the 1,000 horsepower and feeding that directly into the stator clutch torque provider to really get those efficiencies, right? So not only we're getting more production, but we're more efficient at that as well. And all of this clearly ties well with the new cooling package and making sure that we've got a cooling package set in there to help keep these machines out in the field and keep uptime even higher than we've had on previous generations. So a lot of really good information to go through today with everything we've talked to. So
yeah, and I think even on the cooling system, I think there's some questions for Joe that have came in. So
yeah, good point. So we can jump back to questions.
So do you want to see if Joe's online there?
Yeah, Joe, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So what fin per inch options are offered to the radiator tubes?
Yeah, so standard from the factory is what we offered in the previous generation, which is a 22 or 11 fin per inch, depending on how you wish to measure it. The retrofit package, we are offering a 14 or 7 fin per inch option. So when you look at the retrofit, we do have this other option out there. We're certainly working to understand if that offering needs to extend to the current tractor as well.
Okay, another one we've got, does the D11 still have a fuel cooler on it?
It does. We did not change the location of the fuel cooler. It's still mounted in the rear of the engine compartment. So it's far away from the single plane cooling system. We did change the style of the fuel cooler to something a little more robust than what we had on the previous D11. So it's still there on the Tier 4 tractors.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Very good there. Did you have anything else you wanted to wrap up in D11, and then we'll circle back around for any other Q&As?
Yeah, no, Todd, I think everything we've gone through today, definitely from finning, right? We've got a lot of this material on dealer.cat.com. Some of our production studies that we've done, a lot of this good information really summarizes everything from this program and what we've seen from that standpoint. So that's definitely out there. Visit the d11.cat.com for sure, and then go from there. So I think probably could jump into Q&A.
Yeah, let's do that. So we've had some good Q&As come in here, so I'm going to go through and read them, and between Loren and the SMEs, we'll tackle them, and of course, if we don't get into them today, we will follow up with that. Okay, so looks like we have an individual from Newmont that's recently joined the mining supply team, and they're interested to know about live work elimination features developed for the new D11. Probably lots to talk about there, but maybe some things you want to talk to, Loren, or we'll tap into an SME if we need to.
Yeah, we may tap into an SME a little bit on this one, but if you look at some of the things that we've done from a corporate perspective, we've really tried to focus on eliminating live work. That is definitely something, even from a dozer perspective. We've got the engine valve rotator inspection. We've updated that one. We've got a new SOS sampling procedure. One of the other things is we've got remote pressure taps on the new D11 as well. That's something that's definitely helping with some of that live work. So we're always continuing to look at some of our test and adjust procedures as well. So hopefully that's something that we'll continue to go through in the future from a live work perspective. A good question.
Okay, very good. All right, so we've got another one here, and I'm going to read it. So does the existing product have load sensing hydraulics and stator clutch in the torque already? 8% better fuel efficiency. 8% is a lot. Is a lot. I guess what is improved in the specific system? I think you did cover it. Does have a now load sensing hydraulic system on the D11.
Yeah, load sensing. So load sensing hydraulics is been around Caterpillar for sure for a while. So it's been on the 9. The D10 T2 introduced load sensing hydraulics on that generation. This is the first generation of the D11 having load sensing hydraulics. So that's where we're going to get some of that production and fuel efficiency improvement there. And the stator clutch. We do have a torque divider today, but we just don't have a clutch on the back of the stator, right? So that's where that efficiency is really going to come into play.
Okay. All right. Yep. So those numbers are the comparison between a D11 and a D11T and the new D11. So just to double down on that question. All right, we've got some more here. Keep them coming. Q&A question, VOC button on the bottom. Again, Q&A, we're going to try to answer while we have time. The next question I want to hit here is, can you give us a rundown on the dual pole starter lockout?
Yeah, I could probably take that one as well. If you look at some of our regional markets, look for something specifically from a dual pole starter isolation lockout. So we've got it on our price list reference guide. Really, we've got 2 switches on the left hand side of the cab platform to really kind of lock that out. But really, we don't see a lot of. It's very specific regional customers that get that. So it's not necessarily. It really kind of depends on whether or not it's a requirement for the region.
Okay. Yep. Good point. Regional. Okay, we've got another one in here. So I think this one is maybe an Andy Rockwell one, but let me ask it, and we'll see what we can do with it, Loren, here. So why is Cat having trouble with the lower liner fits on the product? Seems to be an emerging problem. Also interested in the camshaft. Are the root cause of failures understood fully and behind us? So probably lots there. I don't know if we want to tap into Andy. If you're on the line there.
I'm happy to take those.
Okay.
I'll take them one at a time. As we've worked over the last years with dealers and rebuild centers worldwide, we have found opportunities to improve both the instructions that we provide to our dealers and CRCs, reworking the lower liner bores in the C32, that rebuild, as well as our own processes within Caterpillar Reman. So that's an opportunity to improve our execution of the current design. Throughout that process, and our close collaboration with dealers and CRCs on this, it's really led to this other opportunity to drive some continuous improvement into the design overall, which is what I described earlier in the video. So that's the first one. The second one, yeah, we do think we have the cam issue understood. It has to do with the cam dynamics and lateral movement of the camshafts during engine operation that happens on a periodic basis that results in some rocker tipping that happens to coincide with the lift event on the number 12 exhaust, which gave us so much trouble there for a while. So we do believe it is behind us with the introduction of our countermeasure to improve our crown on that roller.
Okay. Yep, good summary. A lot of work went there to understand that. So thank you, Andy. Loren, I think we've had a great day. Looks like there's no more questions at this time that we're going to cover. So go ahead.
I would definitely say too, I mean, keep the questions coming in. If once we close out today, you still have time to put the questions in, and we'll respond to you online if we have the information. So for sure, keep the questions coming in if you get them before we shut down.
Okay. All right. Well, Loren, thank you for your time and all the SMEs that called into this. Finning Canada for pulling this together as well. Great time today. Really an almost unprecedented deep dive that we've gotten to pull together in these unique times of doing a lot of virtual meetings. So thank you to all the customers out there. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up at this point. And on behalf of Caterpillar and Finning, thank you for joining us in this deep dive to the Caterpillar D11. Stay safe and see you soon.